think the overall length of every gig was probably about 15 or 20 minutes. The last show we did in Houston, we played about 40 minutes because the undercover cops were there. So it was really kind of weird. When we came out, we had to actually wear something because they were going to arrest me. So it was the only show on the tour that I wore like underwear. I usually did them all naked. Tomorrow night's going to be fucking great, man. We're doing Brandmeier's calling me in the morning and spinning the papers here and shit. But every show we did was in the newspaper. All the press people were there, and I'm sure after the show we got a lot of press too. So I thought the tour was over. When I was in the hospital, listen, this is it. You know, we can't go beyond this point. And then I'm like, fuck it, we got to go on. You know, we can't stop it now. We've only played 2 gigs. So I got out and we just fucking did it. We did Frisco, and then eventually I started feeling a little bit better, started drinking a lot more, and started getting fucking back into the swing. And then we went down to Texas. And the first Texas show was fucking amazing. There was like 2 or 3 people in there videotaping the show. So I went out and just took all the video cameras, like threw them up against the wall, destroyed them. And I went out, this one guy was videotaping, and we didn't want anybody videotaping us at all. So I went out when he was videotaping me, I grabbed his camera and threw it right up in the air. Then I saw another guy videotaping me way in the back of the room. I could see this little red fucking light from the stage. And I jumped into the crowd, went right through the crowd, went up and took his fucking camera and bashed it up against the wall. And then at the end of the show, everybody was outside, like, throwing rocks at the van. They broke our window and fucking, you know, they were really pissed off.
My art is more street art. It's more real life, you know, and you know, because to me, art is like very vital and violent. I mean, to me, if you see a dead person laying on the side of the road that's got hit by a car, to me that's art, and art is very real to me. It's not something that really needs to be acceptable. And to me, art has no limits, so I don't impose any limits upon myself. I believe that pain and violence are art, and I sort of take my whole life, and if you want to call that art, then that's how I put my art out. I just use real situations for art, real blood and real violence and real open sexuality and defecation, urination, masturbation. I mean, to me, that's all art. But my art, real art, has to be challenging, and it must go beyond all normal expectations of anything. There has to be no limit till the absolute end. But I don't want to be put in that same category as Finley or them either. I'm really not too pleased because I don't know how people really take that. I don't want them to think, okay, he does his thing and then it's over when he leaves the stage, because it's not. I mean, my performance art, it goes on 24 hours a day. So when you place somebody in that category, people can sort of look at you differently. So I never really liked to be called a performance artist, but people seem to like to label me that. People don't want to admit that it's real, so they have to put a label on it. You know, well, we can't really say that this guy's really like this, so we'll put a performance art, and then people can sort of take it as they want.
Why do you do what you do?
I think that it's important because it builds character to push yourself to those limits. And what it does is, if you go into every situation as if you were walking into death, then you fear nothing and you accelerate life more. You go into things that most people wouldn't go into because they would be afraid of it. But see, every day I don't think about what tomorrow is going to be. I think about today is the last day, so I'm going to do whatever I can today. And I think the important thing is if you set yourself with no limits except death, then you fear nothing, and then you will go anywhere and do anything. It will build endurance, it will build character, it will build strength, and you will be able to go into any situation and handle it. And I don't let anything get me down. I don't get into relationships. I don't get into situations like most people do that will dig a hole and bury themselves. Keep myself very mobile and ready to go and face the next danger when it happens. I mean, that's just the way I look at life, and you know, it works for me. And I think that too many people are worried about death, and they're worried about, you know, everybody's afraid of this and afraid of that, and who gives a fuck? I mean, you're gonna end up worrying, and who gives a shit? Just, you know, if something's dangerous, fuck it, you confront it. You win or lose. It's a battle, and you know, it's like going to war. You're gonna win the war, you're gonna lose the war, you're gonna go out fighting. But if you go out fighting, at least it was exciting, wasn't it? I mean, I'd rather go out fighting and have it exciting than just die of stagnation. I'd rather die violently. It just seems like it'd be more fun to get shot than to, like, have a heart attack. I mean, it might hurt, but at least you are experiencing some sort of sensation. And I think that when you are dead, I think that might be kind of a fun time, too. I mean, I can imagine that, you know, the whole leaving of your body experience would be quite a high. You know, I think about it a lot, and I think, you know, you know what I really think about is when I do that final show and I'm dead on stage. I'm thinking that I might be able to just float over the audience and watch the reactions of the people as I lie there bleeding, and just see what I think that I will actually be able to see what goes on. That really kind of excites me, too. Like when I played the Cat Club, there was one review that really hit it on the head that said, you know, Gigi just went in and literally scared the fuck out of all these, you know, trendy little art fuckers and all these, except, you know, people came to my show thinking that I was going to be like Karen Finley, and found out that when I really wasn't, that they couldn't fucking deal with it. It's more my participation. If they don't participate, I make them participate. In some way, I can make an audience very on edge, just like I say, by looking at them. I think audience participation is important, but it's more important for my own feelings than it is theirs. You know, if they don't react, then I'm probably going to go out and go off on them even more. If they do react, sometimes they might, you know, kill themselves, and I can just sit there and watch them. So that's all right, too. Fuck all these movies and shit. You know, I'm telling you, if you spent a week here in Ann Arbor, you would puke. I mean, this whole scene here is so fucking pretentious. I mean, the whole music scene, I guess it's part of the college scene too, but it's so fucking, you know, if you don't fit in, if you're not this fan, I mean, we don't give a fuck about you, fuck you, you're an outsider. I mean, I have got no respect in this town. And not that I expected any. I mean, Detroit's an hour from Ann Arbor, and it's like two different planets. Detroit is very cool. It's very like Chicago or New York or Boston. Ann Arbor is just too motherfucking, I don't know. I mean, I really hate it here. I don't know why I'm here. Every day I walk the streets and I see some of these fucking people, and it just makes me want to fucking puke on every fucking one of them. I guess the fact that I'm not welcome here makes me want to stay. It's so great. Record stores don't carry any of my... I've never seen a Gigi record in one store. Jerry told me he went into School Kids Records when I got arrested, and they took everything out of the store. They said they wouldn't be a part of what I did. See, this community is so closely knit. They don't, you know, if somebody went in there and saw a Gigi record, oh, you know, I fucking, you support him, blah, blah. And people are so ignorant. People are so fucking... I mean, isn't that just the most ridiculous fucking thing? Because they don't like you, they're not going to put your record in the store. They're like Big Black or some of these other really fucking idiot bands, or some of these real, especially the art bands, or what's that, Ministry. That's so fucking boring. On the cutting edge of the fucking toilet seat. I get so tired of it. It's like, God, give me a motherfucking break. There is no feeling. I don't know, man. There's just no feeling in the music. That's why I try to put so much into my records. And that's why it really pisses me off when people sort of overlook them and just think, oh, that's Gigi, you know, it's got a sucker, he's a fucking asshole, blah, blah, blah. They don't realize that, goddamn, man, the motherfucker, I mean, I put so much of my whole life into this goddamn shit. I can't think that anybody has done it to the extent that I have. I can't think of anybody. And you know, there are a lot of people out there that realize that, but there's a lot of idiots, too, that don't. It's like my body. I mean, I was good looking and I had a great voice. Now I'm ugly and my voice has gone to hell. I could still sing, though. But I mean, it's just through the years. You know, it's really weird because I listen to those Jabbers records. It's so great because, you know, I don't know. It's just, it was the time, and even though the records are definitely a lot more polished than our live shows were terrible back then. Boy, we sucked. I mean, if you ever heard a Jabber's live show, there are some Jabber's shows that completely fall apart and completely are horrendous. That Jabber's show wasn't even one of the better lineups. But you know, there were much fucking crazier shows. But I think those Jabber's records are just great because of what they were at the time. I mean, I'll tell you, I was a big Bay City Rollers fan, whether I really want to admit that or not. I really liked that kind of sleazy pop, and I kind of liked that mixture of that with punk, and you know, my whole thing was the stage show was the most important thing, because that's where I could get my revenge out. But actually, the guys in the Jabbers were well-crafted musicians. They could all play well, and they could all write well. So that's why those songs are so, you know, so well written. I mean, I wrote them, but they played, and the melody was there. I mean, Rob was an asshole, but he could play that fucking guitar, and Little John, you know, had his rhythm down, and between the two of them, you know, they just had something. And Al was pretty good on bass, and whatever drummer we had at the time did the job. No, I mean, I don't like all of that stuff. You know, I definitely prefer the later stuff, but I think some of it is pretty cool. Back then, when I was about 20 or so, I mean, we were just, you know, it was just a really strange thing back then to, you know, be married, which was something I shouldn't have done, but, and just, you know, being in this band that really nobody liked, and you know, we used to lie to clubs. We used to tell them, oh yeah, we can play this song, we can play that song. We even told one club one time we were a country band. I used to call these clubs, and I knew, like, all these fucking Journey and Foreigner bands would be there, and they're like, what kind of music do you play? Oh, we play Journey, we play Foreigner. Oh, that's great. And then we'd get in there, and we knew we weren't going to get paid. We didn't give a fuck. The money wasn't even important. I just went in, and I'd see all these fucking prissy girls sitting in the front, or all these fucking jockey-looking assholes ready to hear fucking Foreigner. We'd go into Bored to Death, and I'd just go off on them. And I knew, well, you know, how long's it going to last? We'll see. But it's cool. You know, we didn't. The whole thing of it wasn't money. Just how long are we going to play before we get thrown out? And then the Jabbers, being musicians, they got tired of it because they wanted to play. They're like, well, you know, we can play. We want to play. You know, you're always getting us thrown out. And I'm like, well, you know, I want to play too, but I want to play it my way. God damn, I've done more for the fucking punk rock scene than any motherfucking individual in the universe. I'm just so damn wonderful. I couldn't believe it. I went to see my parole office today, and they had all my mail there that caught up to me. I had like 2 bags of fucking mail. I didn't think they had to forward it after I got out, but I walked in, and he says, I got something here for you. I had fucking 2 bags of mail, and he looked at me. The fucking guy was freaking out today. He says, I don't know. He says, if I like what you're up to, he says, you're hanging out with all these crazy rock and roll people. Man, if you only knew. I think he went through some of my mail and saw some of the shit in there, and plus I went in today, I pierced my noses again, and I just went in all fucking the way I always look. He just looked at me, he says, do you have a job yet? Because I told him I made $300 from the last time I was in there, which is pretty good. You know, most people don't make a fucking $100. I says, no. I says, yeah. I says, depending on what you consider a job. I said, I got a band, I got a record deal. And he just looked at me and said, do you have a job? I said, well, in your eyes, probably not. And then he looks at my ticket, and I have to show him my plane ticket and the anti-scene poster. It says, fuck the greedy bastards. And this guy. I didn't want him to read that side. So he's reading the letter. He turns it around. I said, oh, shit. He looks at it. He says, God. He says, I don't know if I like this. He says, this doesn't look good. He says, I'll be right back. And I'm thinking, oh, fuck, he's not going to let me go. And then he comes back and throws the ticket at me. He says, come back in on the 7th and I'll have a pass for you to go. Fucking cool, you know, I don't even have to see him again for 3 weeks. See, I think he knows, you know, what I'm doing. You know, I don't think he agrees with it, but he sees that I'm making money, and he sees that you know, every time I go in there, I seem to be doing a little bit better, so I don't think he's going to give me too much of a problem. I don't know. I mean, it's still really, really premature to tell just what kind of an asshole this guy is. but so far he seems to, just the fact that he's letting me go to North Carolina, he can't really possibly change his mind now because, he's practically told me twice, yeah, you can go. My oil paintings are very crude. They're nothing at all like my drawings that I did in prison because obviously with a pen or a pencil, sketching is quick. My painting, you got to realize too, when I started oil painting, this is the first time I'd ever done it, and I only had 2 brushes, and I only had like 6 or 7 paints. So it's very crude, but the idea of them is so cool because, especially that I Love Nothing, where I sort of predicted the future. It's I don't know. I think they're great paintings. I mean, any artist would look at them and say they were shit. I like them. I think they're really cool. I don't know. I mean, you might not, and you might. I think you'll like just the idea of it and the subject matter of it is kind of cool. Someday I'll actually get my paintings back because generally I don't pay my bands that play on my albums for the mere fact that, I have a hard enough time getting fucking money out of these idiots. I talked to West Beach tonight too, and he's been talking to the drummer for the Plasmatics, a guy that was on Coupe d'Etat. And I mean, that drummer is one of the best fucking, he's a great drummer. He wants to play with me on a tour and possibly record. So right now I got 2 guys from the Plasmatics interested in playing with me. I'm getting together with Wes this weekend. I'm still going to do this album with Anti-Scene because it's slated to go and it's done and I'm ready. But I'm thinking about maybe doing a 4-song EP with these guys, a 12-inch, just as an American release. But I got a couple other gigs tonight. I got a gig up in Portland, Maine for July 12th with this band Big Meat Hammer, which is cool, and both. This is really fucked up. I may have a gig opening for Living Color. I couldn't believe it either. I told the guy, I said, you're fucking crazy. He says, no. He says, I'm serious. It's at a college, Bradenton College in Maine, which, I've heard of. And apparently this guy knows the person putting on the concert and talked to them today. And they hadn't had a band, and they obviously even knew who I was and said that they were interested. So whether it would actually happen remains to be seen, but I wouldn't pass it up if it came about for the main reason, as much as I don't really even care for their music or probably any of the people that would come see them. I think it would be a great outlet for me to get up there in front of probably a few thousand people and just piss them off. I don't give a fuck. It would be like the Ramones opening for Ted Nugent, which they did, and it would be like, I remember one time when Suicide opened for the Pretenders at UNH, this college in New Hampshire, and Suicide they came out, people were booing them, and Alan Vega just stopped Marty in the middle of the first song and just stopped. And Marty played one chord, and he just went up. Alan Vega went up to the people, just gave them the finger for 20 minutes straight and didn't move. It was like one of the greatest things I ever saw. I was like, this is so cool, man. These people hate these guys, and they don't give a fuck. That's kind of the way I'm sure if I ever even got on stage with that band, people would hate me. It makes me even want to do it even more. Whether it will happen remains to be seen, but if it does, I'll take it. But I got that other gig, and
So you're going to have pretty much a summer booked up here pretty soon.
Well, I am if I don't go back to prison. There's a fine line there still, and my parole agent told me today pretty much that he doesn't really like what's going on, but what can he do about it? I'm on parole. If I go back here in the state of Michigan, I go back for at least a year. I'd come out with no parole. I don't want that to happen, but if it did, it wouldn't be the most, it wouldn't be like I was going back to do a great amount of time. A year it would just set me back because right now I've got too much to do. So what I got to do is I think instead of going back and doing reruns, which I don't want to do, I think I got to go out there and to piss them off even more. I'm not going to get arrested because I'm still going to go out there and do my show. It's still going to be intense. I'm still going to get the people going, but I'm going to sort of bait them to fuck themselves up, and that way I can be the instigator without actually getting arrested. It's like I say, it's a fine line, but I can do it. That tape that I just got was the best. It's really great. I'd never heard that Destroy All Monsters Die When You Die studio version. Because when I did that song on the Freaks album, the only version I ever heard was a live version. And to hear that on a studio was great. Do you have any Tom Waits albums? You got the Rain Dogs? that's the one I want. If you could tape me that whole, I mean, that is such a great album. I used to listen to that album all the time. The Allin and Thompson, was that Cafe, or there was another album with Waltzing Matilda. If you could tape me all of that, the Rain Dogs album, and put that song Waltzing Matilda on the end, because I'd like to. I got that tape somewhere, but nobody can find it in my trunk. Yeah, if you could do that on one side of a 90 and then put some Destroy All Monsters, that would be a great tape. I like that, the adverts. Man, well, you know, I've heard some of their stuff before, but I've never heard a whole album, and everything I've ever heard by them has been something that I've always thought, well, I got to get an album by this band. I think they're great. Put some of that on there, too, because I love all that stuff. If you can, as much as you can get of that on there, put that on, too. I got a picture of Malpractice, too. We look like a bunch of little fucking twerps. We were, really, but we were, well, I mean, I guess if you put us back in that time, we looked all right. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, Brian's got his fucking space suit on. I look probably the worst of all of us. I got this hat on, and I got this black shirt that says Malpractice on it. When I get up to the East Coast in July, I'm going to go to my safety deposit boxes, and that's where the real gold is. I got pictures of the Scumfucks, the Cedar Street Sluts. I got a tape of stuff I did with the guys from the MC5. I got stuff that nobody's ever seen or heard that I'm probably going to make copies of and unleashed to the public somehow. I'm on fucking parole and I'm in a bar, bang, I'm going to jail, they're going to call my agent, I'm fucked. So if there's any partying to be done, it'll be at somebody's house, or it'll be somewhere away from the law. I want to stay, I mean, even though I'm in North Carolina, I don't want to see any policemen. It really isn't going to be a lot of party time, fun time. It's really going to be a working trip. For me to work is party time. You know, I'm back to Gigi now, man. You know, after being out of prison for a couple of weeks, I got my leather coat back now. I got another dog collar, and I'm just starting to put myself back together the way I feel comfortable. It's great, man. I got my boots. It's almost like a little bit at a time, but I'm getting everything. Everybody's like sending me all this shit that I had before I got arrested. Because when I got arrested, everything was everywhere. I didn't have time I couldn't get bail, so I didn't have time to get anything together. Now people are sending me all this shit. It's like, man, I never thought I'd see these motherfuckers again. Yeah, shit, I saw my boots, and I was like, what the fuck? I mean, it was like, God, I couldn't fucking believe it. Obviously, one thing we can't do is we can't take photos where there are going to be a lot of people, because in these photos, I'm going to be breaking the law a million ways. For one, we're all going to have weapons. I'm not even supposed to be around a weapon. All of us are going to have guns. And for two, I'm going to be naked probably in some of the pictures. So we can't do this like on Main Street or anything.
Right.
And plus, I don't think anybody's taken a picture of me since I've been out of prison. It'll actually be a first. I don't think there's been one fucking shot of me at all.
Oh, man, fucking the Santa Barbara Police Department called my parole agent. They said something about maybe pressing charges, so I went out there yesterday, and he's yelling and screaming at me, saying, you'll never leave for another 6 months, I can't let you leave the state, and so on. So unfortunately, we had to cancel D.C. for tomorrow night, which is going to be a big show for us. So I guess what they're going to do is just show Gigi videos all night. But it really sucks, because I was going to do it anyway, and then he threatened to lock me up until November because of the suicide thing. As usual, they never get it right. For them to press charges, they'd have to get me back out to California to stand trial. At this point, who knows? I don't think they will. He's just, my parole agent's just trying to, you know, see, the thing is, my parole agent doesn't understand. He doesn't understand the circumstances behind the whole thing. So he thinks I'm guilty before he even hears the evidence that would prove otherwise. I mean, that certainly, there was nothing that happened at that show that I should be charged with, as far as I'm concerned. But he thinks now it's a good excuse for him to, you know, put the shackles on me and shit. But he's got another thing coming. He's telling me I can't leave fucking Ann Arbor for 6 months. Fuck it, they might as well put me back in fucking jail then, because that's impossible. We put an ad in the Village Voice, and fucking Dee Ramone called us up today. And he was the first caller. He wants to play. And he's like asking, he says, well, you know, this is a Gigi Allin tour, pretty rough. Well, you know, you can do it, you know, it's just a lot of blood. Dee Dee's like, yeah. He says, I know all about Gigi, and he says, I can play the songs. He says, I know how, I got some of the records. And he's like, you can even use my name like in smaller letters if you think it would help. He's a better bass player. He's not a great guitar player, but he can play. I mean, my songs are pretty easy, and if he could learn the stuff quick enough, that he could do the tour, but we're not really certain if he can learn it in a week to 2 weeks. So as it stands right now, I won't know till this weekend. They're gonna practice this weekend, see if he can do it. If he can do it, then we would probably just say fuck chicken and bring him along and even do the New York shows. So I'm hoping, that it all goes well with them this weekend, and I'll get together with him next week sometime. I guess Dee Dee's working out pretty well with us. He's a really cool guy, I guess. We look at it this way. I mean, Dee Dee's going to be a big draw. What we're going to do is the other guy will play the whole set. Dee Dee will play like half the set until he learns the whole set. He's so into it. He says he's going to wear like army gear on stage. And fucking, so that'll be his thing. I think what I'm going to try to do now is try to get some sort of press out about Dee Dee being in the band. I didn't really want to do it until I was sure that he was going to work out, but it looks like he's going to, so. And he's got a lot of connections. That fucker knows everybody. At this point, I wasn't even sure that Dee Dee would go because, I mean, there's no money involved, and he knows that at this point. But see, we didn't know that when. I think the next time we book a tour, we can book it with Dee Dee Ramone, use his name too, because it's so weird. It's like I'm so extreme, and Dee Dee's got such a big name. Not to worry about it, because I'm working on it now, and everything's still happening.